what do you make of what's going on with Amorim being so outspoken about his squad? Is he actually saying to the board, get these players out, get me some new ones in, and this is one of the ones I want?
Yeah, I mean, his comments the other day about being the worst squad was maybe a bit harsh, in my opinion.
What was he doing? Who was he talking to?
Potentially, I think it was a message maybe to the board, maybe to the players a little bit. There's always, sometimes with coaches, there's always little hidden messages in what they're trying to get, and maybe trying to get a reaction out of the Man United players. So I don't think he did it in a malicious way. I think he was just more trying to get a reaction. But Dorgu definitely looks a player that would suit into his style, especially in the wing-back type role. He's very quick, he's very dynamic. So with Malaysia not getting any game time and players like that, so I think he could potentially be a good signing for him.
Okay. We've done throughout the window. We're going to start with Manchester United. Jamie, developments in the Marcus Rashford story. Tell us.
And as we've done throughout the window, we're going to talk about Marcus Rashford, the gift that keeps on giving. As we revealed last week, his preference is to join Barcelona, but that is complicated. We've already seen with the Dani Olmo saga that they need to create space for his salary with outgoings. They've not formalised any interest yet. Borussia Dortmund, meanwhile, have engaged Manchester United over terms of a loan deal in case they proceed with that move for him. The AC Milan thing looks like it's gone quiet now. AC Milan's focus is on getting Kyle Walker through the door, so it looks as if they've turned their focus away from Marcus Rashford. But I think everything is still on the table, Bridgie, and perhaps even we could see Marcus Rashford stay and try to fight for his place at Old Trafford, even though I think most of us would agree that perhaps the ship has sailed. It's the end of the road for those two parties and they're both going separate ways. I think it's perhaps still on the table.
Absolutely, yeah. I think the key is all options are still on the table, and this could maybe go into the final week of the window. We've got 13 days to go. It's a bit more extended than usual. It's usually January 31st, but it's February the 3rd, everyone. This time, February the 3rd. It's a manic Monday, potentially. And will it be a manic Monday for Marcus Rashford? As Jamie said, you know, there are options. Borussia Dortmund mentioned. Then we said to you last night that Erik ten Hag was linked with the Borussia Dortmund job. Wow, wouldn't that be a story? But another option is actually to stay at Manchester United. Wow, I still can't get over the post-match press conference from Manchester United on Sunday. What Ruben Amorim said about being the worst Manchester United team and squad. Wow, we get it. You know, he does want to make changes. That's absolutely understandable. But I do wonder what the ones that started in that match and who featured, how they feel about it. I'll tell you, didn't feature in that match. That man there.
David, how difficult will it be for United to get Rashford out of the door?
Yeah, it's always difficult in the January window, I think, especially when you've got a big player like Rashford. And obviously it's availability and the need on the other clubs you mentioned, like Barcelona or Dortmund. Obviously he's got big salary and expectations and stuff like that. So it's a shame for Marcus because obviously he's a Man United icon, but I think it looks like the most sensible move for him to part ways if he can this window.
Barcelona, Jamie, I don't get it. I just don't get why a player would want to go there given their financial mess. Why would he want to go there when they might not be able to pay him?
Horrible place to live, isn't it? Horrible place.
Yeah, but they might not be able to pay him. They might not even be able to register him. Why go there?
Well, I mean, that is the thing, and as David alluded to, he's on a salary of 350 grand a week, and all the indications are there's no chance that Barca can afford that at the moment. But I think it's a lifestyle choice, isn't it? And he's been at Old Trafford since he was a pup, and here's a chance to move to one of the greatest cities in Europe for one of the, if not the biggest club in Europe. Real Madrid fans wouldn't like me for saying that, but you know, imagine doing that at his age and just getting the chance to experience something different, experience La Liga and a city like Barcelona. I think that's the appeal for Marcus Rashford. But you're right, it all comes with that risk that it is a club that is not on the most even financial footing at the moment.
Right, Alejandro Garnacho, Michael, is he going to be in the Premier League for the rest of the season?
Yeah, really interesting one this, because we know there was tentative interest from Chelsea over a week ago and didn't look likely at any point. But interest from clubs haven't gone away, and this time the club is Antonio Conte's Napoli, who are expected to accelerate their interest in Garnacho, with head coach, we know him very well, Antonio Conte, driving the deal. The initial approach was just shy of £40 million, which was knocked back, but they're under the impression, I love this, they're under the impression that Manchester United wants to do business around the £60 million mark. Now, good player, very good player, but that's a lot of money. And as we revealed yesterday, he's not looking to leave Old Trafford, but is aware he would be sold for the right price and the right conditions.
What do you think, David? Are you surprised that United are even contemplating letting someone like Garnacho go?
Yeah, for me, he's still very young. He's got loads of potential, and he looks like a sort of Amorim type player on the surface. Obviously, we never know what goes on behind closed doors, and he's got those qualities where he can play in his system, either down the sides as the wing backs or the number 10. But with Quara, who's just gone to PSG, he looks like he could be a potential replacement for that. But I think Man United are quite right. They're not going to let him go cheap. He's a fantastic player.
Now, if he goes to Napoli, he could replace Kubica, Kvaratskhelia, who you know well, of course, is a Georgian. Is he of a comparable standard, Garnacho to Kvaratskhelia?
Yeah, similar. I mean, they're similar attacking qualities. They both like to dribble. Let's go 1v1. They can play on either side. Quara, as we call him in Georgia, can play up front as well. We like to use him in the Georgian team, but I think he might do that with PSG. But I think Garnacho, in looking at Conte's system of a 4-3-3, he could be a good fit in there.
Did I get his name right?
That's why they call him Quara.
You did, yeah. We say that for short. It's either Quara or Quincha.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I might go with that.
Yeah.
Tell us about him. What was he like to coach?
Yeah, he's a fantastic player. He's obvious standout talents. He's great on the ball. He's very direct. For Napoli, I think they play him on the wing. We play him up front. Be interesting to see where he plays at PSG. Looking at where they are, especially with Koulibaly going now to Juventus, they might play him in that false 9 position. But I think when we have him in camp for the training camps, he's what you call like a top character. So when we do the training camps for national teams, you have to be really precise with your work because you only get 3-4 days to work with the players before your game, and we can't get him off a training pitch at the end of games. He's one of those where he's got that top mentality. He always wants to learn. He always wants to get better. He's got that drive and determination. So yeah, he's a phenomenal player and he's a fantastic character as well.
Mike, this is the domino effect we see every transfer window, isn't it? Koulibaly goes to Juventus, Kvaratskhelia goes to Paris Saint-Germain.
Yeah.
Now Napoli are trying to replace him, and the later you do it in January, the more difficult it gets. And the club that you're trying to buy a player from is like, oh, you're desperate, are you? Well, we might just ramp up the price a little bit more.
Exactly. On that note, let's talk about incomings for Manchester United. Linked with Patrick Dorgu. How easy is it going to be for them to get him, though, Jamie?
Well, we've just mentioned Napoli, and Napoli are trying to sign Patrick Dorgu, but they're prepared to sign him and then loan him back to Lecce for the rest of the season. So obviously, if you're in Lecce's shoes, that is obviously very tempting indeed. We understand Sky Italy are telling us that an agreement is close to being made between these two clubs, but if Manchester United were to offer around £34 million, 40 million euros, that could change the dynamic. So I think the ball very much in Manchester United's court. Yep, if you want him, stump up the cash.
Okay, so he could come in. United could show Anthony the door. Is that right, Michael?
That is right, Mike. It's a move for Anthony to Real Betis on loan, close to completion. Now, I'm sure a lot of Manchester United fans watching us now will probably think that's best for all parties. But let's remember, 85 million, the whole package of that transfer from Ajax around the summer of 22. But these are the key figures here, Mike. A verbal agreement exists with no option or obligation included in the deal. Formal formalities are being sorted before he took a medical. Here's the key for me. His contract is up, yes, in 2027, but it does include a club-held option of a further year. Many of these deals, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but a lot of these deals, a player goes on loan but signs a deal with his club.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's going to happen here because this was a big transfer.
Yeah.
But
like for the price tag, one of the Premier League all-time flops, you have to say. It just has not worked out at all.
Not at all. So on that note then, David, is it time for Anthony to move on?
Yeah, I think so. I think he needs a fresh challenge. He hasn't had much game time. It hasn't probably worked